Hey, Mark King here has a interesting and somewhat relevant article. This was in Business Insider by Ellen Cranley. Its title basically explains it, but most single Democrats would not consider being in a committed relationship with a Trump voter, online dating survey finds. It's just a survey, but these things are quite telling. And okay, so think of it this way, right? It can just be all the people date are just that's their ideology, and like people with similar ideology, how do I say is, tend to do the exact same thing at the same times. For example, like I said, I had a this is something slightly different, but I told a story once before. I had this math professor, and he noted that in his previous two classes, all the left-handed students were in the same area of the room. There's no left-handed desk, right? But they were all in the same area for two classes, and then another class that happened again, and he observed it. So it's quite interesting where people, for whatever still unknown reason, they tend to gravitate towards each other. I mean, it's like similar. It's unexplainable sometimes. Like when a tragedy is about to happen, people some reason start doing the exact same things even though they don't know the tragedy will occur. It's okay. So that was a very poor explanation of what I'm trying to really say, but hey, there it is. Anyway, so let's run through this here. A new Pew Research survey detailed politics that are at play at online dating. Around 7 in 10, 7% of Democrats will not consider dating someone who vote for a Trump supporter. Only 47% of Republicans, right leaning, said they wouldn't consider. So I've ventured into various things, just from my own knowledge, and I have friends who do the online dating, right? And you see a lot of times, a lot of these females who are liberals. Again, rule of thumb: if someone claims to be a liberal, don't date. They're not worth it. They're not marriage material at all. Okay. All right. Rule of thumb. Okay. Even though the service says like I should, but it's just they won't. But the reason, okay, so the reason you don't date a liberal woman is they tend to be more loose. They tend to be slaves to what's trendy. They tend to be slaves to the government. And if the government said something is considered inappropriate, wink, wink, 5 years ago, they'll try to claim, oh yeah, they were also blanked inappropriately. Don't date, don't touch, don't be with a liberal woman. At least that's my advice. But hey, do what you want, But that'll be again, men they should pass these things on to other men, what they've known, and this is what happens in a lot of, like, again, black communities. Without men, they don't get past the knowledge. That's it. Men have specific knowledge that only they have, and they can give people. This is why, like, it's like this is why women, people think it's money. It can be money, but women also want a guy who's more knowledgeable, vast knowledge. There's certain things that you're born with as a man that can be learned that women cannot learn. Plain and simple. Anyway, so this research, let's see, Republicans and right-leaning correspondents weren't as strongly opposed. Like, again, it also shows like a bit tolerance. Also, like, Republicans tend to be more tolerant because they tend to understand the world better. People. Okay, so this rule is when you're in your, not rule, but this cliche is like when you're in 20s, you're about your feelings. When you're 30s, you're about facts. So that's when you're 20s, you're be liberal, and when you're in your 30s, you become a Republican. You lean right. You understand the world. You know, people tend to lose their religion from their teen years in 20s. Then they tend to find when they get older. Just again, it's wise, and you become a lot wiser as you get older. You experience things. Anyway, I'm not going to touch upon this much longer, but yeah, I mean, Space Report 200 most. This is only 200, but yeah, I mean, this is God. Let's read this here. So, a January 2020 New York Times reports on responses from 200 readers said that most of those who are looking for dates through the online platforms thought political alignment was a crucial piece of information. You see, like, I don't care about political alignment, but when I read the other side, when I've seen it with friends, the other side totally wouldn't date you because of how you voted. Those aren't women for you, okay? A survey from the American Enterprise Institute, a conservative-leaning think tank, released the same month, highlighted the political issues that are most likely to be dating deal breakers, including topics like abortion rights, religious freedom, LGBT rights. Okay, so as I read this right here, what this is telling me, right? Um, More manly people and more feminized women want to find each other, and manly people and feminized people tend to understand things a little better. So they understand things like abortion rights, religious freedom, LGBT, gun control, and climate. They've thought about it, you know. That's it, you know. At least that's my opinion. What I've observed. So this is why, like, again, you go to a Republican convention, you see like really like manly men, like muscular men, men with beards, and they usually, like, how do I say this? And the surveys bear this out. They're actually better looking people. You know, the women are very attractive. Usually, they're conservative, they're traditional. They're, I mean, again, it's like an observing what's right in front of you, maybe observing reality, right? It's. I mean, you know, it's like maybe it's my confirmation bias, but when you're there, you see the statistics bear out in reality. You know, that's where it is. You know, so anyway, this is just something I found really interesting. This was in Business Insider. This was by Ellen Cranley. I will say, right, this article is well written. There is, I didn't find any bias in this article. It just simply reported the facts in a nice, concise manner. This is how you write articles. You know, this is exactly how you do it. Yeah. Anyway, take care. Hope you liked. Hope it found it kind of interesting. I know people have their opinions, whatever. You know, it's I know from my experience and my understanding of the world works. Don't date a, don't date a liberal woman. Okay. Again, they're very loose. They tend not to understand the world, and they'll tend to um they tend to follow the government, and they tend to follow societal trends rather than their own natural instincts, their own femininity. Okay, femininity is actually beautiful, and the liberal woman, they have abandoned it for Marxist ideology. All right, guys, take care. Share, save, subscribe, thumbs up. Hope you find it interesting, like I said, and yeah, see you whenever I see you. Probably the next story. Stay tuned. Bye.